the 6th episode of Zooming In with Gen Z. I'm your host, Haley Taylor Slitz. Thank you for being here, all you amazing viewers. Let's start with the show. Firstly, happy Juneteenth! I spent this morning walking in the Denton, Texas Juneteenth parade. I can share with you how proud I was to participate today and celebrate Juneteenth, becoming a national holiday. Thank you, President Biden, Vice President Harris, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, and so many others who worked to make Juneteenth a national holiday. But the real hero of this story is Miss Opal Lee of Fort Worth, Texas. Miss Opal has been leading the fight to make Juneteenth a national holiday and is considered the grandmother of Juneteenth. She shows us that by being dedicated and persevering, you can bring positive change to our world. Without her work, we are not celebrating nationally today. Recognizing the importance of our nation's true Independence Day will allow future generations to better understand our history. When you teach Black history, you teach America's history. To the anti-critical race theory people out there, good luck stopping the truth about our nation's history from being taught. Final score, Miss Opal Lee in truth, 1, racist and lies, 0. Okay, today we're switching things up just a little bit because I just cannot wait for you all to meet this amazing Gen Zer. Who are we talking to? Well, I am so glad you asked. We are talking to a Gen Z member who truly demonstrates that one person can change our world and even our galaxy. Today, we are joined by a true world changer who is one of our generation's leading activists for creating greater diversity in STEM. Not only is she breaking barriers to STEM careers for students of color, she is an aspiring astronaut who we will likely see making a trip to Mars. She has single-handedly raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to ensure that students see important movies like Hidden Figures and giveaway books across the nation. Not done. This amazing activist is Taylor Richardson from Florida. She is and will be out of this world. I am so proud to call her my sister in activism and my friend. Hey, Taylor. Happy Juneteenth, and thank you for being here.
No problem. So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. We have to jump right into these questions. Okay. So let's start off our conversation with how you got started on your path to advocating for greater diversity in STEM and STEAM. How old were you when you started your activism work, and was there a single thing that made you get active?
Mm-hmm. So I was interested in STEM/STEAM since I was a younger kid, since I was about 9 years old. And that's when I went to space camp. And I was so excited to go. My mom helped me and we raised money on the GoFundMe. But when I got to space camp, I saw all these really cool pictures, but I didn't see any Black astronauts. So initially I asked them, do you have any Black astronauts? Do you have any pictures of Dr. Mae Jemison? And I believe they had like one in the back by the bathroom. So after that, I was kind of discouraged, but I figured since I was asking the same questions, there were probably little Black girls like me who were also asking the same questions. So that sort of sparked my idea in activism. But as I got older, I found a lot of topics that I agreed with, and it just grew from there.
That's so awesome. So why is diversity so important in STEM and STEAM fields to begin with? Why do we need women and people of color in these fields?
Of course. So like I said earlier, representation matters. If you can see it, you can be it. Specifically in the medical field, we need Black doctors to take care of Black people. It's not just one type of race in the world. So we need other people who can understand where we're coming from, our cultures and our struggles, and who we are as people to take care of us. So that's just one of the reasons, but also just not limiting Black kids and Black girls, especially Black women, to just one, field of study. Yeah. To let them know that we can do other things than just entertainment, singing and dancing, to let them know that they are capable of doing other things. So that's why I think representation matters, not only in STEAM, but all fields.
Absolutely. I hope all of you guys are taking notes because this is really inspiring. We're just getting started, okay? Okay, you have and continue to do some amazing work. One of the projects you did was raising funds for students across the nation to get to see the movie Hidden Figures. Can you share with us what motivated you to do that?
So when I was 9, I was invited to the White House to see a special screening of the movie Hidden Figures. Wow. I know, right? See a special screening. I got to meet a lot of important people there. But on the flight back, I told my mom, hey, Mom, I want to raise money for at least 100 girls in Jacksonville to see the movie because I felt like it not only allowed little Black girls to see that they could do other things besides what people tell them, but also, it had a positive representation of Black women. So after that, my mom thought I was crazy, but I ended up raising over $20,000 to send 1,000 kids here in Jacksonville to see the movie. But also, that sparked a lot of other people's campaigns across the U.S. to,
Yeah,
spark their own campaigns and stuff. So
absolutely. That's
it.
incredible. If you guys haven't seen that movie, and if you can, you definitely should watch it. It's really inspiring. And your work in getting little kids of color to see that movie is absolutely inspiring. It's very important. So that's amazing. Okay, so you have done many of these types of GoFundMe campaigns to raise money for different projects. How much have you raised, and can you share any tips for others on how to do these types of community engagements?
Okay, yeah, of course. I think I've done like 19 campaigns and I've raised over $300,000 in total of all my campaigns. I guess some tips would just, find a cause that you're really passionate about and that you care about. You have to really want to do it and really want to make a change in whatever you invest your time and energy into. But also staying consistent, keep posting so people see about what you care about, so they'll get familiar with the topic and possibly want to spark that in their own community. So just stay consistent, post about it, find something you care about, and try to make the best difference you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So speaking of the GoFundMe campaigns that you have done, when you did the GoFundMe campaign to get tickets for A Wrinkle in Time, which is another awesome movie, people like Oprah Winfrey donated $50,000. Like, how did you feel in that moment?
It was just so surreal. I was so appreciative because she didn't have to do that, and I was grateful for her even taking the time to just look at the campaign and also just help with what I was doing and my movement. So it was awesome. I was so appreciative and grateful of what she did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's incredible. That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
A more recent campaign, while we're on the topic of campaigns, you did was donating copies of The Black Friend to libraries. I was hoping you could share with the viewers, like, why did you do this project and why do you think it's important?
So I read the book and initially thought, as a Black girl who goes to a predominantly white school, I thought every Black kid needed to read this. Whether they did not only because it was a good book for white people to learn how to respect other people's cultures, but also, in the book, Fred talks a lot about like what he went through as a kid, and I saw that it was the same things that I'm going through now as a high schooler, and probably many other people of color. So I felt that should be in all libraries, and that kids should read it and understand that they're not alone. So initially I started the campaign, and a lot of people liked The Wrinkle in Time, and Hidden Figures people sparked their own campaigns, and it got out. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And I know that we're like, as we talk about your campaigns, it's really becoming like, it's a theme. And I love the theme of like activism and getting involved and getting the students and your peers in the community involved too. And so speaking of getting your peers involved, I want to get a little bit deeper here about Generation Z and activism. How do you think our generation really is about activism? Older people sometimes dismiss the work that's being done by Gen Z members, but what do you see? Is there a real impact? Is it sustainable?
I think we're doing a great job as young people. We all have different things, whether that's LGBTQ rights, equity for people of color, whatever it is, whatever they find their passion for. We find it, and then we try to make a difference in our own communities, and then we push for it worldwide. So I feel like as young people, we're so progressive and so active in finding something that we truly care about and trying to make a difference. So I feel like as young people do dismiss us, but I think what we need to do is let people know and make sure they know that we are capable and we're willing to do the work, and we want to hear what you have to say, and we want to include everyone's voices and what they have to bring to the table. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I would say NC's doing a pretty great job.
I think so too. I like to think so too.
Yes.
I think so.
Pretty good.
So like, about being a student right now and being an active student, especially being like a student of color, a Black student, it frustrates me when adults talk about how students, especially students of color, are not performing well on standardized tests. They see us as the problem, not the future problem solvers. But their quiet is more as more stories come out about school administrators and teachers demonstrating their racism towards students of color. I was hoping we could like get your thoughts on being a Black girl in school right now and what you would want adults in policy making decisions to do to address any issues. Less Gen Z activism, maybe more like people currently in leadership and legislature making these active changes.
I think definitely what people were talking about, the critical race theory, to teach more students about what really happened, and not just give the whole Martin Luther King thing, which really is important, and I'm grateful that they're teaching this, but Black people have done so much more for this country, and we're so much more than just the things they tell us in these textbooks, and they don't truly go deeper on our history because they think that our history is an American history, which it is. So I feel like that's the start of it, but also just being a Black girl, specifically in a predominantly white school, just trying to stay grounded to who you are as a person and remembering who you are, being influenced by certain things or getting discouraged and your confidence lowering is really hard. So just try to surround yourself with, other people of color, positive people who will support you and lift you up. So that's my advice, I guess.
I love that. And speaking of being like a Black girl and trying to find support and stuff, the Crown Act actually has recently become law in Nevada. I know. I'm keeping track. That makes 12 states now that have outlawed
in Florida.
I know, really. I'm like counting them as they go. And that's 12 whole states that have outlawed discrimination against their natural hair and natural hairstyles. Here in Texas, we tried to move the Crown Act, House Bill 392 this year, but it was delayed by certain politicians and never got a full vote in the Texas House, the usual. Of course. Florida has also still not passed the Crown Act either. I was hoping I could, all the viewers and everybody could get your thoughts on wearing our natural hair to school and what Gen Z should be doing to engage policymakers to end hair discrimination.
Obviously. Yeah, I think it's just a lack of respect, honestly, a lack of understanding, and just a little bit of ignorance, It's crazy how people saying we can't wear our natural hairstyles when this is just what grows out of our head. It's our crown. Our hair is naturally like this, and we can't really change that. But I do think it's an internalized racism a little bit in there. And also, I think just pushing for your legislation and your policy, to change the bill and just protest and do whatever you can to help your community and take action.
Absolutely. 100%. Like the 100 emoji with the red underlines. Like absolutely everything you said. Absolutely. So speaking of school and finding support in the Crown Act that impacts students in the workforce, but the discussion that we were having was relating to students and support for students. I know you're a high school senior this year. What's next for you? Like, what's the next big step? Is it being an astronaut and visiting Mars? Like, is that still a long-term goal of yours, or has that switched up a little bit?
So just honestly graduating from high school, working on college applications right now, submitting, trying to do that. But yeah, activism still plays a role in what I'm doing, and it'll continue to play a role. What else? I have a lot of stuff to do this summer. I have an internship with my gynecologist. I want to be a gynecologist too, as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so I want to be a Black doctor. Cool. But yeah, I just doing the same things that I'm doing now and focusing on getting into college. That's what I have now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a process. Yeah, absolutely.
A very stressful process.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Speaking of spending time this summer shadowing Dr. Adams, I think I saw, who's an OBGYN. I know you've been fortunate enough to have a great village of mentors, especially women who have worked with me to help me. I have to work with me to help me on my journey. I was maybe thinking we could get your thoughts on mentors and why they're so important to Gen Z members. If you have any tips on how to build your village of mentors, anything like that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be anywhere without my village and my mentors. They invest in me, they support me, and they give me great advice. So I guess try to find someone who supports you, ask people, email people who you see in a positive light, who give those positive views of leadership, tell them why you want to be a leader, why you want them to be your mentor, and just try to, put yourself out there, but also have some people come to you. If you're doing great things in the community and you're working hard and you're doing the work, somebody will come to you. They'll give you guidance and advice. So I guess those are my tips.
Absolutely. Keep at it. Yeah, definitely. And I think to find role models too, somebody like you were saying, find leaders, somebody you can look up to. And if you find them, anybody who's interested in STEM and STEAM, right. Taylor, a fantastic role model. If you're ever looking to just get involved, just, find people who are really inspiring to you, and definitely follow them on social media, follow their stories, support them, and try to learn from them. So I absolutely agree with you.
Absolutely. I learn from Haley every day, so.
No, I learned from you. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, Taylor, for taking time to be here with us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Okay. Let me see. Where am I? Okay. Make sure you follow Taylor on social media. Of course, I think there might be a little like banner actually at the bottom.
I start right on
Mhm,
all social
exactly.
media.
Absolutely, absolutely. So make sure that you guys follow her because her story is amazing. Where she's going is amazing, and like we were saying, she's a fantastic role model. So I definitely make sure you follow her. I follow her, of course. So follow her. I cannot wait to have her back on the show in the future so we can catch up on her journey to change our world and explore our galaxy. One day, when you're looking at the stars, you might actually be looking at Taylor going to Mars. So definitely think about that. Her light is so bright. It's very easy to mix up. Definitely. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Okay, I think you guys understand why I had to start with that. That was amazing. Absolutely. I'm so glad we can all agree. I love the environment we've created right now. Okay, jumping into the news stories, because I know that is a section of the entire episode that we all look forward to. Starting off, should you be texting your ex? Let's see how this goes. When you do cut off your ex, just in case you see them in class, at work, or around your neighborhood, how do you keep it cordial and avoid the awkwardness? That's a key question. Hear this quote from Essence Girls United. Being honest with each other and knowing what it is like. We're going to be friends and that'll be it. If at any moment you feel uncomfortable or it gets weird, then maybe it's something that you shouldn't be doing. Sometimes people get excited when they see people and they think that they have to have these butterflies. Sometimes that feeling is anxiety. Sometimes that feeling is uneasiness. Sometimes that feeling is not so much a good thing. So if at any moment that you feel uncomfortable, then that's something that you should not continue to do. If you're worried about the friendship or constantly contemplating why you two are still friends and how to introduce them to people, is it worth the trouble? You have to take care of our mental health. And if something like that is stressing you out, that's not something you should be doing. It's a direct quote from Essence. I love this advice. I definitely, something you need to keep in mind as you navigate your everyday life and your relationships. That is like I said, pretty good advice. For all of you who are struggling with staying friends or dealing with your ex, this is definitely your sign to maybe look deeper into that and maybe drop them. Okay, next news story. Body positivity problems lurking on TikTok. Get this, DRK beauty clinician Christine Coleman, who has been studying the body positivity movement for the past 17 years, told HuffPost that videos like the body positivity videos we see on TikTok actually signify a step backward for the body positivity movement. Hear this quote. What we see in this video is an attempt to promote body inclusivity. They're referring to a TikTok body positivity video. Yet that actually translates as the opposite. Some thin-presenting people are forcibly sticking their stomachs out under the guise of body acceptance. This effort is altogether misconstruing the mission of the body positive movement. It is instead presenting the opportunity to show off culturally accepted six-packs and the convenience to return to idealized appearances within seconds. These types of videos can be triggering to some, especially to teenage girls and young women who struggle with disordered eating and those navigating social media looking to find bodies similar to their own. I think that's every girl navigating social media. I never thought about it like that. I think it's so good that we as Gen Z are shining a light on the issues of the issues with societal expectations of people's bodies and calling it out for the BS it is. But I do think we need to be so careful. We don't want to damage the movement, so please think before you post. The next news story. You cannot stop Black girl magic. I will let this story speak for itself because, trust me, it speaks volumes. So let's jump right in with this quote from the New York Times. At first, it seemed like a joyous occasion. There was an audible gasp in the room, then boisterous cheering and applause when the announcement was made. Akira Washington and Layla Temple had been named 2021 valedictorian and salutatorian for West Point High School. But almost immediately, parents of other students near the top of the rankings raised questions about who should have been honored. Within days and breaking the long-standing tradition, West Point High School decided to name two valedictorians and salutatorians, with two white students, Emma Berry and Dominic Bogorley, joining the Black students who had already been named. I told you, it speaks volumes. It's amazing how these white parents tried to stop these black girls from being black girl magic. Little did they know, black don't crack. I know that phrase is usually used in reference to appearance, correlation to age, but I like using it in contexts like this one. We don't crack under the pressure of white thumbs trying to push us down. We stand strong and shine bright, not dim for a single second and with no cracks. Okay, now, as usual, we will close out our show with a segment called Zooming In. Let's take a look at who's being magnified for being magnificent. Drum roll, please. It's Pharrell Williams. His latest project, a private school in Norfolk for students from low-income families. This news story. Hear this from the Virginian Pilot. Singer Pharrell Williams' nonprofit plans to open a group of small private schools for students from low-income families starting in Norfolk. The first school will open this fall in Ghent. The group declined to specify where. For students in the city in grades 3 through 5, with the goal of expanding on equity-focused nonprofits, decades of experience running summer programs for students. If the system is fixed and unfair, then it needs to be broken, Williams said in a news release. We don't want lockstep learning where so many kids fall behind. We want bespoke learning designed for each child, where the things that make a child different are the same things that will make a child rise up and take flight. Called Yellow Hab, yellow after Williams' nonprofit and Hab after the name of the Mars habitat in the movie The Martian. The school will be tuition-free for at least the first year. The cost of attendance will be covered by philanthropic support. Wow. This is incredible. We need more work like this. I really appreciate how Pharrell is using his platform and his blessings to provide for others. Gen Z, use this act as a model. Reach out to those you can and help others. Even on a smaller scale, it means so much. Well, this bridges nicely your Zoom call to action. Find a way to reach out to others and help them. It doesn't have to be starting a school. Maybe just, mowing your neighbor's lawn or bringing in their trash cans, offering to help somebody cross the street or load their groceries into their car. Pay it forward and pay for the people ordering after you. You never know how impactful something seemingly insignificant can really be. Well, look at that. Episode 6 of Zooming In with Gen Z is wrapping up. Thank you so much for joining today. If you noticed, throughout this episode, I've been wearing a sash and crown. Why? Because I am Miss Tarrant County's Outstanding Teen, and tomorrow the Miss Texas's Outstanding Teen competition begins. Maybe in 2 weeks, I'll be Miss Texas's Outstanding Teen. Who knows? I'll keep you all posted on my socials. Okay, anyway, let's wrap up so you can get out there and celebrate this federal holiday because it deserves some hype. Like I said, come back in 2 weeks for episode 7. Same time, same place. The usual. Of course, we will talk about some very interesting news stories and hear from some very interesting Gen Zers. A shout out of thanks to Citizen Ed for providing us with this platform to talk about the issues we care about. See you guys in 2 weeks. All right, how do I zoom out on this thing?